how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
So, what have you been watching? What have you been doing during this time?
Oh man, I've been watching a lot of Solar Opposites. Do you know that show?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's like a Rick and Morty,
Okay.
but oh man, I don't think Dan Harmon's a part of it. I think it's oh man, I forget. But it's a really really fun show. It's super funny. So I've been watching a lot of that. I've been watching a lot of Community, which is I think one of the best written shows that's ever been produced. So I'm a huge fan of that. Yeah, and I've just been playing a lot of video games, getting destroyed in those video games, and then rage quitting, and then not learning my lesson, going back, and then getting destroyed again. So that's been most of my time.
What have you been playing? Which video game?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Fortnite with the cast. So like me, Mason, Michael, Bella, we all hop on and we try our best and always lose. I think we've gone like one victory royale. And then, yeah, so we've been doing a lot of that. I've been doing a lot of Call of Duty, which I just got back into, and I realize I still suck. I'm more of a single player guy. I'm not sure if you care about this. But
Yeah. I feel like your fans care.
I'm more of a single player guy, so I'm a huge Uncharted fan. The Last of Us, which The Last of Us 2, I think it hasn't come out yet, but I'm really excited for that. So yeah, I've been replaying a lot of single player games and just hiding in my house. So really nothing has changed because this is what I've done before. And I mean, I haven't seen the sun in years. So, you know, it's been my life.
I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is.
Neither do I. Time is relative now. Nothing matters. It's all.
But I do know that Love Victor is coming out soon. It's coming out sooner now. Thank goodness.
June 17th. Yeah, it's exciting.
No, you were so great on the show. I feel like Felix is
so
lovable. He's such a great character.
I'm so happy you think that. Thank you.
So many people are going to love him. So tell me how you got involved. Tell me about portraying the character because he's so different from like RJ, from Will.
Yeah. Oh wow. You know. Yeah. I got into it. I got an audition, and I went, and it was just me and the casting agent, and we did the scene, and I felt pretty good about it. And if I'm remembering it correctly, right after that audition, I went straight to producers, which doesn't happen often. I was terrified. And I like walk into the room, and I see George, who plays Benji, and he was there, and I thought he was going out for my role. And so I said hi, and he talked in his British accent. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not getting this. I mean, he's insanely handsome. He has a British accent. He's totally getting this. So later I found out he was auditioning for a different part. So that's how I met George, and I went in and read with Michael. And I mean, I loved Michael right from the beginning. And then I left and I got it, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then after that, started meeting up with cast. We started becoming friends. And some of the best people I think I've ever met in my life. They're incredibly cool. And that's kind of how it went. Preparing for the character, I'm a pretty nerdy guy, so I took kind of a little bit for myself. And I read the script, and I like basically broke down the character that way. And eventually I just, after you do table reads and you start running it with people, and you start just actually performing it, you just kind of fall into the character. And I was super thankful that he has some really funny lines, and I thank you, writers, because they're incredible, and they wrote some really funny jokes, and I got to play around with those. And and it's been probably one of the most fun characters I've ever been able to play. And it's been very different from other characters I've done, like Will or Freddie or RJ. I mean, it's been such an amazing experience.
And you were talking about the script. Was there any improv? I'm thinking in particular about the board game scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. So what happens is that we run the scene, and then the writers have new ideas, or I might have something out that I want to try. Some things work, some things definitely don't, and that's just the process. And we try to find out just what's the funniest way to do it. And yeah, and there's a lot of ideas that, you know, it's kind of a collective thing where everyone kind of gets involved, and we just try to make it as funny as possible. And that's probably one of my favorite things to do on set, is just like brainstorm with people of like how to make this better. Or and I mean, and you really didn't have to do it anyway, because it was like, just the writing was so funny to begin with. But it was so much fun to just like play around with that character. Especially, he's just such a lovable, fun guy, and he's always there for his friend. And he's just like I feel like everyone would want a Felix in their life, just because he's just always there for you, and he's always thinking about others, and he's just so down to earth and cool. And yeah, so I loved playing him.
Yeah, and I loved that you really felt like you were instant friends with Michael.
Yeah.
You feel like you met, and then okay, you're best friends, and that just
Felix just kind of decided that. He just kind of walked up to him being like, yeah, we're best friends now. And it just kind of went in that direction. And I think a really good scene. Are we allowed to spoil some stuff? Like, is that okay?
Oh,
so okay, cool. So one of my favorite scenes was actually in the first episode, where it's me and Michael walking through the halls, and he's like, dude, I'm not your friend. And it's like, as we're going up those stairs, and I thought like that was a really fun scene to play, because and then obviously he makes up and we go to the carnival and everything like that. And I think like that little moment where there's this weird just, I'm not, what's the word? Unsureness? Is that a word? I don't know. But I'll use it anyway. And now it is. Unsureness of not like Felix. He doesn't have many friends to start with, and he's a very awkward guy, but he's very outgoing about it. So just that, just hearing that, and Felix kind of thinking, oh, this could be my best friend. He doesn't have any friends. He just moved here. I have no friends because I'm weird. It's like, it's a perfect combination. Yeah. And hearing that, I think really just took Felix down a peg, and that makeup, and just Felix like, oh my God, we're friends again. I think that was really cool to play. And also, it was just such a fun scene to film at that carnival. It was so cool. I loved it.
And I'm just going to spoil the end right now. What was it like filming the scene where he comes out to you?
Oh my gosh, that was so good. It was so good. Michael played that beautifully. I love working with Michael. He is such a good, not only friend, but amazing actor. And he did that role such justice. And I couldn't see anyone else playing Victor. And it was a really, really good time. And I mean, we were in it. We were really in it. And I think that the way it was written, and the way it was just really powerful, I think, to both Michael and I, since, you know, we were living these characters' lives. So, you know, when we finally got to that point, it was really impactful to both of us. And I hope that played on screen.
It did.
But it did? Oh, good.
Yeah,
okay.
It did. You guys nailed it.
I'm glad to hear it.
I promise.
Oh, thank you.
And you also nailed your chemistry with BB. You two are so cute together.
Oh, thank you.
So what was it like building that dynamic?
The dynamic was great. And I think the best scene with us was the Catan episode, where I'm talking about the fish to her, and, you know, it's that dynamic. And it really, like, I mean, Felix, who's been crushing on this girl who he thought he had no chance, and it's like, wait, it was just like, it was such a good moment for Felix. And I felt like Felix really needed a win, and he finally got it. And I really enjoyed that Felix got to have that win. And then also the win in the very last episode. I think those two wins were really big to Felix, because he's not a guy that wins a lot, you know? So, but he always looks on the brighter side of things. And I think that's part of the reason why he's such a lovable character.
Mm-hmm. And I love how he was so honest about his mom in that episode too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when he sees when he sees how Lake's mom is treating Lake, and wants to basically be vulnerable to her, which makes the Uber scene that much more, you know. But it was yeah, I really like that scene too. And that was like Felix truly opening himself up, and it gave you a little insight of why he's always at Victor's and not really, you know, he doesn't really talk about his family. He doesn't really talk about these things. And you get to kind of see why. And I think that's a really, that was also a really impactful scene, in my opinion.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite scene overall to shoot?
Ooh, there's so many. Oh, there's so many. I think the carnival scene was a lot of fun. So we were talking about this. I was talking about this with the cast, actually. We really miss the late nights. We really miss like being there, being tired, going on your 10th cup of coffee. And you look back at those nights and you miss them, you know, because it was such a fun experience to be with that cast and crew. Everyone was just so into it, and they loved the story they were telling. Everyone was so talented in everything they did. And I mean, just getting to work with those amazing people, I think was one of, if not the best experiences in my career. And so probably the carnival scene. I really liked when Felix opened up. That was a lot of fun. Basically, I can't really choose. Any scene with that group of people is always fun, you know. They've truly become some of my best friends, and I really, really appreciate it. Yeah. And
I love the episode where you and Bella, you have to like get away from your addictions.
That was okay. Yeah, I loved that. Oh my god! And when we were doing the coffee scene, when we're sitting across from each other, and Lake comes in. That scene alone was just so much fun. Yeah, I love that episode, and especially since you know, Bella and me, we didn't really like have scenes together much, and then and we were super excited about having that episode to be able to work with each other like that, and it was a blast, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
Because otherwise, you just had the dinner scenes, which were great.
Those were fun. Those were a lot of fun.
What are you guys eating? We're gonna eat now.
Yeah, Felix really liked to incorporate himself into that family. To him, he was a Salazar.
He was.
Yeah.
So do you have any addictions like that where you're like, oh man, I shouldn't do this?
Oh, video games. I'm a huge I love video games. It's well, I just like art in general, and I think art that's interactive is really cool. And so when you get to play games like Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm a huge fan of No Man's Sky, which, I mean, that had like that. I won't go into it. I won't go all nerd on you, but but No Man's Sky and Uncharted, The Last of Us, all these like great narrative games. Skyrim is another fantastic one. I have 3 books on that. So I really enjoy video games for the narrative and the interaction, and like so many things that developers can like sneak into a game, and you could pour hundreds of hours into a game and still not see everything. It's a very cool experience to me, and I also like, you just get to role play as a cowboy, and you feel like a cowboy for a bit, and that's like awesome. That's really cool. So that I really like movies. I mean, obviously I'm an actor, so I like movies, stuff like that. So yeah, I have those types of addictions, mostly anything with a screen, I guess.
So what movies have you seen lately that you really love?
Ooh. I just rewatched Fargo, and so good. That Minnesota accent, I can't do it well, and they're all saying yeah. Oh god, it's
wood chipper.
Yeah, the wood chipper. Poor Buscemi. And yeah, it's such a good movie. It was such a good movie, and my favorite character is obviously oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her name. The cop that's pregnant, and she's basically McDormand. Yeah, with Norman, and she's just like going out solving these murders while she's like 2 months until she has this baby, and she's such a badass, but in like such a like nice way about it. And when she's like interrogating people, she's like the nicest ever. It's just such a, I love that character. And I love her relationship with Norman. And in fact, they I think those two actors created a backstory for themselves on about those two characters, which is Norman and her were both cops. And basically, when she had the baby, one of them would have to stay home, and she was the better cop than Norman. So Norman decided to go and pursue art and like create stamps. And I thought that was a little cool piece of trivia. But yeah, that was a movie I always enjoy.
Very cool. And do you have a dream like actors that you want to work with?
Ooh, I have a lot of them. Ooh, who would be like my dream actor? Steve Buscemi would be cool. Johnny Depp, I think his character work is amazing, and that would be an interesting one. Joaquin Phoenix, definitely. I really like these actors that just Meryl Streep. Duh. I mean, you're insane if you don't want to work with Meryl Streep. Tom Hanks would be amazing. Yeah. Like all these guys that have done just incredible films. And every time you look on the screen, you see a completely different person. And hopefully I get to that stage one day where I'm as good as them. Because, my gosh, they are some of the most talented people in the world. So I would love to be working beside some of them, yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing that. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you for Felix. I can't wait until people watch this. They're going to love you. They're going to love the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited about it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
You have
a good one. You too. See ya.